Hello everybody, it's Nick here, back again with another video. I cannot tell you how many times I've had to do this intro. I've had to refilm this video because of various things, but you don't really care about that. What is today's video? Today's video is an update on the Open BVE project that I've been working on. And for those of you who might not know, I've been working on a MBTA Orange Line 1200 series train mod for Open BVE. Now, I uploaded a video about a couple months ago kind of showcasing my mod, and I also provide an available download link for it because at the time I just wanted to release it open to the public because there was another person who released a video in 2019 showcasing their MBTA Blue Line mod for OpenBVE, and they said that the download link would not be available because they were not ready to release it yet. And well, it's been 3 years since that video was uploaded, and still nothing has happened with it. And well, at the time that I recorded my video, I felt like just uploading it in the current state that it was because I just wanted there to be an MBTA game that was actually decent for all of you to play. And well, like I said, at the time, the 12s were not quite exactly what I wanted them to be. Like I said, I kind of did a bit of a reskin of them, but within the past couple months alone, I've been doing a lot of modifications and changes to the 12 series in OpenBVE to make them a hell of a lot more realistic than they were back when I originally uploaded my video talking about them and showing you how to download them. And well, today's video I'm going to be covering some of the changes I've made, some of the improvements, as well as how to install it on both Windows and Linux. I was going to show you how to install it on macOS, however, I was also going to show you how to install OpenBVE on macOS as well, but I had to record this video several different times because I kept messing up and all sorts of other things. But during the first time that I recorded this video, I tried installing it on macOS and it was just not working. So unfortunately for all of you people using macOS who are watching this video, I will not be providing a tutorial on how to install and get OpenBVE to work on Mac, because the only version of OpenBVE that actually works on my Mac is on my 16-inch MacBook Pro that I have right here. I installed OpenBVE a while ago and it works just fine, yet for some reason I can't seem to replicate it across like older machines. I was trying to install OpenBVE on my older 2017 13-inch MacBook Pro running High Sierra, and the program just was not opening. It kept not responding and crashing. So I just figured I'll try to figure that out some other time, and I'll just focus on Windows and Linux, since both of them are very easy to work with, and shit just works. So unfortunately for all of you Mac people out there, this is not really a tutorial video on how to install OpenBVE for macOS. Sorry about that. But enough with the rambling, let's go ahead and get started, and I might as well just show you some of the improvements and changes that I've made to the 12s in OpenBVE, and just highlight them for you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So right now I am going to show you the changes that I've made to the trains in OpenBVE. I'm currently opening up a map that has various types of rail types, if you know it. You obviously don't know what I mean, but some people, when they construct a route, they have various types of rails that you ride on that basically look different. So you have like ballast, you have concrete in a tunnel, ballast in a tunnel, and all that sort of things. The route that I'm opening specifically has various types of rails. And the reason why I'm opening this map specifically is because I've made some changes to the actual sounds that play when the train is moving. So for instance, when you enter a tunnel, the sound that plays, it changes. I'll explain that further, but it seems like my game just opened up. So here we are in the cab here. And the first thing you will notice is that in this release I have now installed a high definition, high resolution interior cab texture for the first person view. I have not quite figured out how to get an animated throttle controller yet. I am still working on that. Like I said, there's still some things that do need to be added on this. So for those of you who might be requesting for me to add stuff, I'm working on it. Just have that patience hat on, all right? But we have an updated cab texture, which is pretty cool. But now let's go to the outside here. Now the first thing that you're going to notice is the body shape. The body shape is now almost carbon copy, exactly the same to that of the real life counterpart. So it has the same curvature, has the same angles, and all that sort of thing. I couldn't quite get the hump to work properly, but quite frankly, I'll take what I got right now. I'll figure that out some other time. But one of the major improvements that I have made to this add-on is the ability to change the car numbers based on whatever you want. I'll show you how to do that in a sec, but as you can see, the leading car here is 1208. And if we go to the next car, we have 1209, just like how it is in real life. So for the first two cars, it's always one number and then the number either high above it or below it. So what I'm talking about is like if 1200 was leading, then the second car would be 1201. And then if 1202 was leading, then the second car would be 1203, and so on and so forth. And I've done that across all 6 cars. So after 1209, you have the next set of cars, which in this case I have it set to 1319 and 1318. And then after that is 1287 and then 1286. And I'm going to also show you the interior of these cars, because I've done some heavy modifications to them. For one, the interior cab is a lot more accurate to that of the real life version of the 12s. We now have new seat textures that are high resolution, along with the dividing poles that are right by the seats. And alongside that, we now have the ads have been fixed so that they display properly right above. So the map is right above the doors. The actual advertisements are scaled properly, and all that sort of thing. The roof towards the end is scaled properly, and it does not look odd or anything like that. I was also able to fix the seat problem before, where with the previous version that I've released, there was only one set of seats, or one side had seats. But now both sides have seats, so I added that. The doors have been improved too, so that they look better. I added some in real life texturing to the bottom. Like I said, there's like a little gap of beige there that you can see. I still need to fix that. But yeah, as well as I think that's the only thing that's been added, as well as I updated the front interior cab texture. So you have a mock-up of the 1980s map. It's not actually a 1980s map, it's actually a modern map. And the one thing that will tell you that is that Wellington is added, as well as Tufts Medical Center. Now, you might be thinking Tufts Medical Center has been there the whole time. Well, the name was changed, I think, in around the early 2000s. It was changed. The original name for Tufts Medical Center was New England Medical Center. And then when Tufts University took it over, they changed it to Tufts Medical Center instead. So that's how you can tell it's like a modern map, but in the old style. I also add the cab curtain, as well as changed up the scaling of the numbers, as well as the emergency subway instructions, and all that sort of thing. And something cool that I added is that with you can see the darker texture for where the Hawker Siddeley plaque would be. Now I added this slightly darker texture to reflect that of real life, because for some of the cars, if you remove the plaques, the wood paneling is actually darker than the rest of the wood paneling, because it has not been exposed to sunlight and it's not as faded as the rest. So that's another improvement that I have made. But alongside that, I have actually added in different plaques. So 1208 was missing a plaque, but 1209 has a black one, and 1209 does not have a fire extinguisher on the other end. 1319 has a white plaque that is covered by the fire extinguisher rivets, and yeah, you get the idea. But another thing that I have also changed with this is the actual door. Is that when you close the doors, before, to actually play the door chime and then close the doors, you had to press 2 separate buttons. I had the actual chime I had the actual like chime sound binded to I think it was the primary horn, and you had to press the button to sound the primary horn and then press the door's close button to make it sound somewhat realistic. But the one main change that I have done here is that with just the press of one button, the chime plays and then the doors close. So I have my right side doors key binded to the page down key. So just take a look here. Chime plays and they close. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, the door animation speed is too slow. Now that is a bit beyond my control, and that's simply because of how Open BVE functions. Now, the actual speed of the doors opening and closing is determined by how long the audio files are. And I think it takes both audio files, divides them in half, and then that sets the door opening and closing speed. So if I open up the doors, they move faster because the audio file for the doors opening is shorter than that of them closing. Like so. But that's one of the improvements to the doors that I've made. So let's go ahead and close them and let's get on our way so I can show you the new run sounds that have been added. I also added, this is also a new idle sound. It has like the I think the background compressor I have set as the idle sound, as well as I have added a new brake release sound that is not as loud as the old one, and is also, once you hear it, you guys are gonna love it, because you can hear after you hear the little tss before the actual compressor releases the air, you can hear a little click click click, and that is from the actual motorman turning the throttle controller to the position. And you'll hear it in just a second. You heard that clicking? I recorded that in real life, so that's a cool touch that I added. So let's go back into first person here.
Next stop, green.
Now that announcement is just something I added to this map because I wanted to. And that's not included in these trains. That's dependent on the map that you use. But listen closely. I'm running on ballast right now. You hear how the audio just changed. It now just changed to the audio file that I have set for the Southwest Corridor. Now we're back to ballast, and it's going to switch back again. And it switched back again, switched back again, and again. Now these are all exterior audio recordings, so they sound incredibly realistic because I was able to get them from the outside. I'll explain how I got them in another video, but that's whatever. If we go to an exterior camera, if you hear it passing by, it sounds incredibly realistic. Now we're about to enter a tunnel here, and the actual sound is going to change again to the actual sound. Okay. And then you just heard that again. The sound just changed from the exterior ballast that's above ground to the ballast sound recorded when the train was going underground or in a tunnel. It dynamically changes based on how the route is configured, and I have it set to dynamically changed by default. However, if any route that does not have like dynamic rail changing, it is set to the normal ballast sound by default. So y'all don't have to worry about that. But anyway, those are the improvements that I've made to the 12s, and I'm going to show you how to change the car numbers right now. So now I'm going to show you how to change the actual 12 series car numbers. So right here is my actual train folder in the OpenBVE user files, and when you actually install this mod, the folder will be called MBTA 01200s. I have that set by default because it's just gonna be one folder, one train file, and that's it. Because if I made copies for various configurations of consists, then it would be an absolutely absurdly large number of files. Because if we go into the properties folder of this, the actual size of this is if we go into the properties folder of the 12 series folder, you can see that the actual size of it is 7.19 gigabytes. And reason why it is so large is because I needed to export 120 different texture files for the sides, the interior front and back, like cabins, the fronts. It was a lot of work, but I got it done. So that's why the file size is so big. However, when you download it, the actual download size will only be about 3.5 gigabytes because I have compressed it. But anyway, y'all don't care about that. So let's go in and I'll show you how to change the car numbers. So now pay attention closely. When you actually click into the actual train files, you want to go to the exterior folder, and then you will see a whole bunch of files here. Now there are two different files that make the train look and behave the way it does. There's a .animated file and a .b3d file. The .b3d file is the thing that we want to change. So we just have to double click that and it will open up a notepad file. Let's just take this full screen, and everything that you see on here, do not change, because that will completely change the look of the 12s. The only thing that you need to do to change the consist numbers are you need to find and replace a certain number. So now look close right here. Look close right here. You can see texture load texture / exterior / side / C1 / right side 1208.png. This is the actual path to the side texture that is used on the right side of the train. And this is the first car, just keep in mind. So the only thing that you really want to change is this number right here, 1208. And to do that, you can just, for Windows, it's Control H for find and replace. Now it will ask you find what. In this case, you will input the number that you see here, 1208, and then replace it with whatever you want. In this case, let's just change it to 1220. Now, when you do this, do not put a 0 in front of the 12, because I have all the files named the same. So it would be like right side 1202, right side 1201, right side 1254, right side 1275. There's no 0 in front of any of these. So when you do want to change the numbers, just change it from like whatever the number is to whatever you want. Just don't put the 0 in front of it, and it should work. All you have to do is just hit replace all, and then press Control S to save it, and then it should have applied. And to check if it has applied before you open up the game, if you have BVE installed on, this is only for Windows, mind you, you can go into the object viewer, and it will allow you to view a train that is while it's not in the game. So you can do like texture changes and all that sort of thing. But let's just open that up real quick. Alright, so now that we have the train load in on the object viewer, now also you might be noticing some graphical bugs. Now that's because I tried to install Reshade for OpenBVE, and I think it messed up a few things, and I think I need to reinstall some things. It should not do this for you if you try this. But now, as you can see, the front car has changed from 1208 to 1220, and what I just showed you, if you find and replace the certain number and then just save it, it will change it, and you won't have to do anything else. So let's just go again and change the second car. So let's go to 1200 car 2.b3d, open it up, and the second car is 1209. So I'll just press Control H, input 1209. Oops, I put in 109. Put in 1209, and then put in 1221. Since 1221 comes after 1220, hit replace all, save it, and then go back into the object viewer, press F5, and then it will reload, and it should have worked. And there we go. 1209 has just changed to 1221, and we're all hunky-dory. Now you can do this for all 6 cars. If we go back to the folder here labeled exterior, you can see that there are 6 different files here. 1200 car 1, 1200 car 2, car 3, car 4, car 5, and car 6. The B3D files are the only thing you want to change. Do not touch the .animated files, since that is what controls the door animations. and I had to do a lot of configuring to get them to work, so just don't worry about those. The only thing you want to change is any 1200 car number .b3d. That's the only thing you want to change. And that's how you actually change the consist numbers up. You can configure them to whatever you want. I'd love to see your screenshots or videos of the selected consists you run and whatnot. And yeah, an added bonus that I've also added to these things as well is that you can change the chime sounds as well. So now, if we go back to the main 1200s, file folder here, we went into exterior before. If you look down here, you will see sound.cfg. Now this is a config file. If you open it up, let's just take that full screen. You will see a whole bunch of different text right here. Don't worry about any of that. The only thing you want to change is labeled under door, close left, close right, and under horn, secondary. And those are the only three things you want to change. I have structured the actual audio folder to make this as simplistic as possible. So if we go to this directory that it is talking about, audio/chimes, and then if we scroll down, you will see audio/chimes/1208.wave. That path in the sound.config file is basically saying use this sound file here whenever the doors close. Now, if we just look around, let's change this to 1220 since 1220 is leading. If we delete that and change it to 1220 and then do that for same up here, then it will have changed it to 1220's door chime. I have not recorded 1220's PA chime, but the same can be done for the PA chime as well, which is set as the secondary horn for OpenBVE. Now you can see what PA chimes are available in the PA chimes folder in the chimes folder. Now I'm just gonna delete these because they're just random Mac files left over. Now you will see I have a whole bunch of different PA chimes here. So I don't have 1220s like I just said. So let's just change it to 1221s. So let's go to secondary, delete 08 and put 21. So that's now 1221 PA chime. And then you're going to want to hit save, and then that should be all good to go. Now, just to see if everything works properly, I'm going to open up OpenBVE again, and we will test it out. So now we're launched back into OpenBVE, and first off, to test this, we're going to go into the exterior camera 1, and as you can see, the first car is now 1220, and the second car is now 1221. Now, if we close the right side doors, you can hear the chimes have now changed. Same goes for the PA chime as well. That is now 1221's PA chime. And that's how you change the chimes and the actual numbers of the consists. So now we're going to get on to how to install them on Windows and Linux. Let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so now we're going to first start off on how to install this on Windows, since most of you are probably running Windows. Now, I have a Windows 7 virtual machine right here. Now, you might be thinking, oh, if you're doing this in Windows 7, will it work for Windows 10 and Windows 11? Do not fret. This will work across all Windows versions. I think anything below XP will not work, and I highly doubt any of you are running Windows 95 or 98 or XP anyway. I think, most of you will be running Windows 10 or Windows 11. Some of you might be running Windows 7, but what I do here will work across all Windows versions that are supported as of today. But if we so here we have Windows 7, and right here I have the 7-zip file of the 1200s. Now, I have provided a download link to the 1200s for OpenBVE. It will take you to a Google Drive link in which you will download this 7-zip file. The actual 7-zip file is 3.37 gigabytes, and I had to put it in a zip file because, quite frankly, 7 gigabytes is a lot to download, and 3 is a lot better to download. So, if you have any type of unarchiver software, just open it up. I have 7-zip installed, so you can just open it up. And it will just bring you to the directory here inside the zip file, in which you will see MBTA 1200's file folder, in which that is what you're going to want to move into your OpenBVE add-ons folder. Now, this is a this is a virtual machine in which I have never installed OpenBVE on, in which most of you who are going to be playing this will probably be installing it on your C drive. So on this, if you have installed OpenBVE or you have not, when you install it, it will ask you if you want to add desktop shortcuts for OpenBVE and the add-ons folder. But we're just going to double click the OpenBVE add-ons folder, and we're going to look at the actual file path here. So the actual place where you want to install this in is in the train folder in your legacy content folder. Now, if we look at the actual file path, where this is located is under C/users/your username, or in my case, it's nick/appdata/roaming/openbve/legacy content. Like I said, the shortcut will take you directly to where the add-ons folder is located. And so we're going to just open up the train folder, and we're going to move open MBTA 1200s directly into this folder here. And now that's going to copy, and we will just wait for that to copy. So while it is downloading, I'm actually just going to show you guys how to install a root, just in case if you don't quite know what you're doing, since installing roots can be kind of complex. So the best place to actually download roots is from bvestation.com. So you can just go into any, you can just put in Google BVE station and just hit enter. And then you're going to want to click the first link here, which brings you to bvestation.com. And it will bring you to this website here, which is where most of the New York City subway maps, trains, and all that sort of thing are located. And this is probably the best website to download subway maps from, since most other websites have like locomotive and other rail type routes. But if we go to downloads up here, you can see there are a whole bunch of downloads available. And it is taking a minute to load here. But yeah. So I'm just gonna narrow down my search type to just roots. And so now it has narrowed down all of these search options to just roots. So I'm going to download two separate routes here. I'm going to download the NYCTA 6 line as well as the 1950s Lexington Elevated. The reason why I'm doing two of them is because one of them opens up as a zip file and you have to move in the files yourself. Whereas with the 1950s Lexington Elevated, it downloads and then you have to open up an exe file to install all of them properly. Now, for one, I'm not really one for installing all of this stuff through an exe file because I don't know what that exe file could contain. It could contain something malicious, but that's just me being paranoid. But that's whatever. Let's go to the second page here. I can't remember where it is exactly. Yeah, here we are, 1950s BMT Lexington Ave Elevated, which you're just going to want to hit download, and everything should work fine. This route specifically does not require any dependencies, which is good because once you just download it and install all the files, it should work properly. Now, I've already downloaded this once before because I had to record this several different times, but that's whatever. Now I'm just going to go back and download the NYCTA 6 line. Yeah, here we are, NYCTA 6 line. And you're going to want to hit download as well. The 6 line does not require any dependencies as well. So if you want to try out a route, I would say try the 6 line and the Lexington Ave Elevated. They are your best bet because once you install them, they will just work without any other dependencies required. So let's go ahead and I'm just gonna hit cancel because I already have this downloaded. Let's go to my downloads folder here, and we can see if we go in here, which is my extracted Lexington Ave Elevated thing. If we go into the folder here, you will see a whole bunch of exe files or exe applications. The two that you're going to want to do is Lex Ave Objects BVE4 and Lex Ave Roots BVE4. Now, it doesn't really matter which one you do since BVE2 and BVE4 work seamlessly with OpenBVE. There's several different versions of BVE. I know it's confusing as hell, but it's whatever. So let's go ahead and install the objects first. Now, you're going to want to just double click this here, the objects BVE4 application, and it should open. It will give you like the whole like user account control. Just hit yes. I've already ran these applications through VirusTotal. There's nothing malicious in them, but just be careful. If you ever download something from a shady website, be sure to just be cautious with what you're doing, because you might not know what you're installing on your computer. So the actual default path that it installs to is the C programs BVE4 railway objects. Now that you do want to change, because BVE4 is different from OpenBVE. Now you're just going to want to click Browse over here, and it will give you a prompt to select the directory in which you want to install it. Alright, finally that responded. So it will say browse for a folder, in which you're going to want to go to. It will just give you this list here, but you're going to want to go to your directory folder, which in this case it's Nick. Hit the drop down, go to app data, roaming, and then scroll down to OpenBVE, legacy content, railway, and in this case we are opening up the objects folder, which you're going to want to put those in the objects folder in here. Press OK, and then hit install, and then it will do its own thing. So now, to check if it installed properly, you're going to want to go to your computer, local disk C, users, yourself, app data, roaming, OpenBVE, legacy content, railway, and let's check objects since we installed the objects. If we look in here, it will say Lexington Ave elevated. Now if you see that there, then that means that it installed properly. Now I'm just going to minimize this, and now we will install the root file. Just hit yes, and then select the directory in which you want to install it. Which in this case, I already have the directory selected, but I'm just going to select it again just to be safe. So once again, you're going to want to go to your user folder, app data, roaming, OpenBVE, legacy content, railway, but this time select root, since this is the root installer that we're using. Just hit OK, and then hit install. And now we will bring up the other window where it has the legacy content subfolder where the add-ons are installed. Which in this case, you're going to want to go to railway and then check under root. And if you see this here, then that means it installed correctly. If you also see this pop up, just close it. If the files are there, then it installed properly. Now just to check it, let's just go under there. If you see a CSV file, then that means everything should be good. Now we have installed the first root. Now the second root, the 6th line, we're going to install now. So the 6th line, it opens up as a .7 zip file. What now? The 6th line opens up as a 7 zip file, which it's just an archive. It's not an exe file. So let's just bring this over here, and then we will open up the other window that we have, where the directory for our roots are. So right here, on this window here, we have the. I'm just gonna move myself down over here. If we just look over here, we have the 7-zip file that has the NYCT 6 line. So when you open it, you're just going to want to go to railway, and then you will see a similar looking folder structure as to what you see in your legacy content railway folder, where OpenBVE looks for all of its things. So let's first start by opening up the objects. You will see a whole bunch of files here. So now I opened up the objects file. You're just going to want to drag and drop those into the objects folder in your legacy content folder, in which that will now copy over. It will take the longest since the objects contain the most amount of files. Alright, so now that has installed. So now you're going to want to go back up a level, go into root, and then just drag and drop this folder right into the root file. And then that will copy over too. Now that should have worked. The last thing we need to do is go into the sound folder, and then drag whatever's in the sound folder over to the sound folder in the legacy content railway folder. and it will now copy over. And then we should have the NYCT 6 line and the Lexington Ave elevated installed for OpenBVE. And just to check that, I'm going to open up OpenBVE. I'm just going to open up the 64-bit version, since this is a 64-bit version of Windows. And once OpenBVE opens up, we should be able to see everything that we installed. Alright, so now that OpenBVE is opened up, now we have two versions of OpenBVE opened up. Alright, so here we are. OpenBVE start menu is opened up. Now you can see this is where the root. I'm just going to take this full screen here. So we have two different sections here. We have root and we have train. The root here is where you will select your root file. So let's try out the 1950s Lexington elevated. You're going to want to select this, and if you see this load up, and if there isn't like an exclamation point and says root file is corrupted, no objects found, then it installed correctly. If you see the actual description and you look under the map and you see all the stops, then everything has worked just fine. So now that we have that installed, we're going to look under the train. So, did it not copy over? Something else I do want to mention is that when you do extract something from a 7-zip file, the window that you have the set directory to extract it to, do not I have it extracting to the desktop. Do not change your, do not go to anywhere, do not go to any other file location, because that will result in an unspecified error, because you change the directory in the window that it's extracting to, and it just does not understand that. So it is now finishing up, and there we go. Now we have the file folder MBTA 12s on my desktop. We are now going to move that into our OpenBVE add-ons folder. So I click the shortcut and it should take you directly to the legacy content folder, which you're going to want to open up train and then just drag and drop wherever you extracted the 12 series folder and just move it into the train folder here. And there we go. Now everything should work fine. Go back to OpenBVE. We now have the root selected, and now we can select the 12s. So as you can see, we now have a picture as well as a description of them. That means that it has installed properly. And now we can hit start. I'm going to hit start. I don't quite know if it will load up properly because this is a virtual machine, and I don't know if OpenGL will work with this virtual machine, but whatever. We're just going to test it out. And it's not responding. Nope, here we go. Alright, so now we have actually loaded into the root file. And if you see this, then that means you installed the root correctly. So as you can see, the 12s are loaded in and everything is all hunky-dory. So now that you see this, everything is installed properly. You've done it. You've completed it. That's how you install the 12s and a root on OpenBVE for Windows. Now, let's move on to Linux. I'm going to make that a separate video for those of you who want to see it as a separate video, but that concludes this video. So that is now my new update for the 12 series in OpenBVE. You can use the link in the description below to bring you to the Google Drive page where you can download the zip file. Just follow the instructions that I have given you in this video and it should work properly. If it doesn't, then something might be wrong on your end, because the way how I did it on a fresh install on a virtual machine that did not have OpenBVE installed with the default directories and everything. So just follow my instructions and everything should be fine. Anyway, that's it for me. If you liked what you saw, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!